Starting in 2005, we started getting pictures of a monster. First year that we seen him, he was a mainframe 10-pointer. We could tell he had a nice rack on him, but we could never get a good look at him. But he was on our radar then. Then the following year is when we started getting lots of pictures of him. I think on the 6th day of the season, after sitting there for 6 days, it was evening. I was sitting up the valley here in a tree stand, and just probably 20 minutes before the end of shooting light, he walks out to my left about 75 yards away. I think it was a surprise to see him when he came out, because after sitting there for 6 days, I had passed up probably a dozen bucks, and some bucks bigger than what I have on the wall. And when he came out, he just walked straight across the field. He didn't meander or anything. He just come out by himself, walked across the field. And as he was walking, I brought the gun up. I had a good rest, and I shot. He mule kicked, and I thought it was over with. Spent a restless evening, and then the following morning went looking for him, found blood, but could not find the deer. We spent 2 months looking around the farm in brush piles and stuff like that, and then finally he showed up in pictures in January. When he showed up in January, then we knew he was alive and survived the year. Looking for him for the 2 months, I was pretty disgusted with myself, figured that he had died somewhere and maybe we couldn't find him, and figured maybe he went on a neighbor's property and nobody had found him, and kind of just assumed that he was gone and dead. I was not receiving any pictures of him. Then in January we got a picture of him below our house here, and right away I recognized him. And we also noticed on his side a large protrusion hanging down from him. Eventually we found out that was where I had shot him the previous year. By now it had become an obsession to find this buck. The obsession was to get him. And on the 3rd day of the season, I'm sitting in a stand and I heard some buck snorting and grunting and some tree rubbing. And as I'm scanning the area to the right, I see him standing there. I was able to stand up, turn to my right, and place the crosshairs on his neck, and then when I fired, he disappeared right away. I thought for sure I had missed him clean, and I was just furious at myself. I was mad because I thought I had messed up 2 years in a row not getting this deer. But I thought, well, I better follow up on it, so I started walking down the hill, and pretty soon I could see some turned over leaves where he had run, so I started following them where he run down the hill. But no blood, and then pretty soon, probably about 75 yards from where he was, straight down the hill, I could see his rack standing up where he had expired there. I shot him in the neck, and there was no blood had come out. I seen the rack protruding down there. I brought the gun up, made sure that he had expired. As I walked to him, my elation, I never had a better feeling of walking down to that deer. But then once I got to the deer, I was overcome by emotions and 4 years of chasing a single deer. And I sat down and I grabbed his rack. I cried because I had killed this wonderful animal, and I had spent 4 years of my life chasing, and it was sad to see him go. So I flew around on the four-wheeler and I found my uncle and brought him back, but he made me sit in the shed and drink a pop to settle down for a while because I was so excited. We went up to the deer, and we could not believe the size of the deer. The actual body of it was huge on the deer. And my uncle, we of course grabbed him, and I had brought the camera with, and I started to take pictures of him holding it, and I took one picture and the camera ended up being full. So that's the only picture I got in the woods was my uncle with him. And he later tells everybody, because that picture was passed around about people, that I had shot this deer, but he started to claim it for himself. And then because that was party hunting then, he had a tag, and my uncle had put the tag on it, his tag. So then when it was at the taxidermist shop, people would congratulate him for shooting that buck too. As soon as we started making a few phone calls, everybody, all my relatives and all my hunters and stuff like that from New Albin and the surrounding area of Freeburg and stuff like that came down and seen the deer and congratulated me. It was a nice evening, and it's kind of a nice, it was a kind of a feeling when I had killed that deer that it was finally over and I could relax and not have to worry about trying to get that one deer.